A man lifts his shirt on camera. Viewers instinctively recoil. Below his left pec yawns a jagged, thumb-length scar. That scar, he says, was carved by something that wasn't alive. His name is Eli Walsh, and the postcard cottage his parents bought in 1994 was supposed to be the safest place in Cedar Ridge. Instead, Willow Lane became a 10-year proving ground for the paranormal. Think harmless grandmotherly ghost? Try again. Think trench-era soldier barking orders in a child's hallway. Closer. Think a 7-foot shadow strolling across a minivan hood while 2 kids scream inside? Bullseye. In these stories, you'll hear 3 escalating hauntings, each worse than the last, exactly as they detonated inside that green 2-story. Stick around, because by the end, you'll decide whether Eli's scar is proof of the supernatural, or proof that some houses are hungrier than anyone imagines. Eli didn't realize a house could breathe until the hallway exhaled lavender into his face. The family had owned Willow Lane for just 4 nights. Every evening, the kitchen workers packed up their saws, and every evening, the brand new cabinets clapped like applauding hands. On the 5th night, Eli woke, convinced someone was sitting on the foot of his race car bed. Moonlight sketched a delicate silhouette of a woman who looked exactly like his mother, if his mother were 30 years older and floating. A tiny smile warmed her face. Then she vanished so quickly, the comforter barely settled. Mom dismissed it as sleep fuzz, but the house doubled down. Portraits tilted in exact unison. Silverware chimed inside closed drawers, and the family beagle refused to cross the living room rug where an invisible rocking chair creaked after midnight. Lauren felt soft fingers braid her ponytail while she colored. Buddy the dog followed something no one could see, wagging like he'd found a long-lost friend. The weirdness leaked beyond the property line. During recess, Eli overheard Lauren telling classmates that Grandma Hazel read bedtime stories no book could match. The teacher phoned home, worried about imaginary friends. That night, Hazel obliged the rumor. Crayon drawings Eli had left on his desk reappeared taped neatly to the refrigerator, each sheet sporting a perfect lavender kiss mark in the corner. Nobody in the family wore that shade of lipstick. One humid Sunday, Mom set a peach pie on the sill. Eli and Lauren returned from the pool to find every window wide open, the pie untouched, yet single bite marks dented each peach in the fruit bowl. Mom's mantra, "Ghosts aren't real," faltered when sticky fingerprints appeared on the inside of the 2nd-story glass. Hazel, so named because of the faint hazelwood perfume she carried, never broke dishes, never screamed. She observed, rearranged, and occasionally stroked a child's hair with what felt like genuine affection. The family began speaking to her in cautious whispers. "Hazel, please shut the pantry. Hazel, it's bedtime." For weeks, the strategy worked. The cabinets quieted, the perfume receded, and even Buddy slept through the night. Summer melted into fall, and the children almost forgot that Hazel wasn't flesh and blood. Then, on a windless September evening, every framed photo in the hallway rotated 45 degrees at the exact same second. Eli straightened the final frame. Crack. 10 panes of glass shattered at once, slicing the carpet. Just after the glass shattered, Eli knelt to gather shards and froze. A single wet footprint, the tread thick like a work boot, stained the hallway runner. It faced his bedroom door, toes angled inward as if bracing for a march. Hazel's perfume evaporated, replaced by the coppery smell of old, rusted steel. The house had just made room for something in boots. The invasion began with mud, thick, fresh mud that shouldn't exist in a February blizzard. Dad wiped the first print off the basement tile, muttered that one of the kids had tracked sludge inside, and called it a day. Next dawn, 6 more prints marched from Eli's plastic trenches straight to the stairs, then stopped dead, as though an unseen soldier had reached parade rest. Outside, snow coated the yard. No mud anywhere. A week later, the bayonet wound arrived. Eli jolted awake at 3 a.m. to a burning sensation under his ribs. He hadn't moved all night, blankets still tucked tight, yet his undershirt clung wet with blood. The ER doctor labeled it an accidental puncture, wide and ragged like a dull blade. From that morning on, war moved indoors. The microwave's shiny door often reflected a lanky figure in World War I khaki, adjusting his puttees. When Eli spun around, only cold air remained, and the metallic stench of coal smoke. Lauren's ballerina music box rewired itself to play Over There, spinning even with its key removed. Dad's shadow boxes of medals fell face down whenever parade ground commands echoed through empty halls. "Stand to! Fix bayonets!" Eli began sleeping with a pocket compass. Its needle jittered wildly whenever unseen boots clomped overhead. Buddy snarled at doorways, then skittered away. A disposable photo snapped during one icy draft revealed the gas mask soldier, Brody helmet tilted, resting a gloved hand on Buddy's stiffened back. 2 days later, the picture vanished. In its place lay a mud-flecked U.S. tunic button and a single .306 casing dated 1917. Dad still barked "group hysteria" until family videos were mysteriously overdubbed with distant artillery rumbles and static-laden Morse code. A neighbor finally shattered his denial. Mrs. Gonzalez, gardening at dusk, saw a man in an old gas mask pacing the Walsh driveway. Her photograph captured only a smear of darkness, but driveway gravel bore a fresh hobnail track. One evening, the family TV snapped on by itself. Black and white static swirling into a trench panorama, no channel carried. Shapes in gas masks trudged through smoke, each frame jerking like a broken newsreel. When Dad yanked the plug, the picture held for 5 full seconds, long enough for one figure to turn, raise a bayonet, and point straight at the camera. That very night, an antique gas alarm rattle clattered somewhere under the floorboards. Eli's compass spun like a saw blade. A distant voice roared, "Gas! Masks on!" Icy wind blasted every upstairs door wide. Dad took one look at the shredded recon photos strewn across his office and conceded Willow Lane was occupied, and the man in charge had not yet shown his face. Hell Week began when a breakfast table light bulb exploded like a starter pistol, and nobody flinched. By November 2003, bulb pops, cabinet bangs, and phantom drill calls were background noise. What frightened the family was the new pattern. 10 p.m. on the dot. Every night, a single bulb would detonate somewhere in the house. Friday, the kitchen. Saturday, Lauren's closet. Sunday, Dad's reading lamp. On Monday, the 10 p.m. detonation shattered the master bedroom ceiling fixture, showering glass over mattresses the kids had dragged in for safety. Mom barricaded the door with a dresser. Dad deployed for weekend drill, promising to settle this on return. At 10:02, a silent pressure rolled through the room, air thick as syrup, followed by Cousin It's arrival. 7 feet of pitch black ink filled the doorway. No eyes, no edges, just a silhouette that absorbed the hallway night. Static raised goose flesh. The bedside lamp flared, then burst. A red welt blossomed on Lauren's calf in the shape of a giant handprint. Hazel's soothing lavender was long gone, replaced by cold iron. For 3 nights, the shadow paced the threshold without crossing, an animal testing a cage. Each morning, welts, bruises, and long scratches marred skin the children swore had been untouched. On the 4th night, the boundary broke. Cousin It stepped into the bedroom proper. The mattresses rattled as if an earthquake struck only that spot. Eli's blankets spiraled off the bed, hung midair, then shot across the room like cannon fire. Daytime offered no safety. Tuesday noon, every faucet spun itself open. Frigid water geysered until Mom killed the main line. Wednesday, handwritten sticky notes the realtor had left. Turn off lights, close closet, rewrote themselves in charcoal scrawl. Stay still and count down. 3 days. 2 days later, only yards from sunlight, Lauren's silly putty rocketed out of a locked den, curved the hallway, and struck her spine with the force of a grown man's fist. Dad's daylight-only rule collapsed when the family computer began typing GOAWAY on a blank document while the keyboard lay unplugged. Friday, 2 a.m., vital documents half-packed. The family crammed into the still-running minivan. Fog filmed the windshield, then cleared in neat circles, someone wiping from the outside. Cousin It stepped onto the hood, darkness pouring off him like smoke. Frost footprints traced where no weight bent metal. When the overhead door finally squealed open, headlights banished the shadow, but the image seared itself into every passenger's mind. Minutes before the family fled, every outside motion light on Willow Lane's cul-de-sac blinked in perfect sync, on, off, on. 3 slow pulses. Neighbors later insisted their switches were off at the panel. From the van's rear window, Eli saw silhouettes ripple across the lawns, as if a whole platoon was advancing beneath the sodium glow. The next morning, Eli opened a memo pad to find a fresh entry in careful cursive he'd never write. "We move with you." Dad ordered immediate evacuation. Yet during the final sweep, a locked basement briefcase, Eli's evidence archive, sat perfectly intact and perfectly empty, except for the red flashlight and a wildly spinning compass. On the basement wall, someone had scrawled in bayonet-shaped gouges, "You can run!" But the next line, deep, unfinished, promised the chase wasn't over. Eli Walsh is 34 now, but every nightmare still screens inside Willow Lane. Nightlights glow in every room, closet doors stay latched. A random whiff of lavender can still make his mother's hands tremble. Lauren refuses to speak the street name aloud, and Eli's fingers keep tracing that bayonet scar whenever skeptics laugh. The county won't reveal who owns the place today, yet neighbors whisper about porch bulbs that ignite at 10 p.m. sharp and a figure in the attic window. Wide brim helmet, gas mask, always watching. So here's the final question. If Willow Lane hit the market tomorrow, would you cross the threshold or would you bolt before sunset? Tell us below, and remember to keep one eye on the darkest corner of your room because something on Willow Lane just learned your name.